and welcome to today's live IELTS class. My name is Adrian and I'm streaming to you from beautiful sunny Budapest. I hope everybody has had a good start to their weekend. Looking forward to a nice rest of Saturday and Sunday. This is a members chat class. Everybody is welcome to watch. In about 90 minutes, we will have an all chat class where everybody can join in on the chat. And this class is speaking part 2. Next class is speaking part 3. These two classes are related to each other, so it's good if you can hang out for both of these classes. Hi, Awaz. Nice to see one of our members already in. While we wait for some more of your peers, this lesson is presented to everyone by aehelp.com. That's academicenglishhelp.com for lots of help with the IELTS exam. Check us out there. And for the general version of the exam, check us out at gieltshelp.com. That's general IELTS help.com. Hi, Firdavs. Hi, Preeti. Hi, Rajveer. Nice to see more of the members coming into the class. Our websites look like this. This is the academic with the blue background. Click that big red button to join our premium package and get access to all of our wonderful lessons, HD videos, fully interactive course, and original practice exams. For the general version of the test, it's the green background at gieltshelp.com. Click that big red button to join us there. Hi, Abhishek. Hi, Pavan. Also, you can download and link the apps, Academic IELTS Help. You can link that to the ahelp.com website. And the General IELTS Help app, you can link to the gieltshelp.com website for a really effective learning experience. Now, students, if you have questions, visit us or send me an email, adrian@aehelp.com. And again, today, speaking part 2, followed by speaking part 3, and I will have next week's live IELTS schedule up on our YouTube community board a little bit later today. So we will have our regular classes next week also. All right, members, let's get into today's part 2 speaking. Again, just a reminder, this is a speaking class, so make sure to speak and repeat. Speak and repeat what you hear. Write down new words, discover their meanings later on, and make sure to remember and use them. Members, what is the first step when you are presented with the cue card in the speaking interview? So for everybody, speaking has 3 parts. The first part, you have about 5-6 questions asking you some information on a general topic. Then the examiner will say, okay, that's the end of part 1. Now for part 2, here's a card with some questions. And then that card may have questions like this. And then you have 1 minute to prepare your answers. Think about your answers and 2 minutes to speak. So what do? Awaz says, read the question carefully, especially the main question. Yeah, Awaz, very good. So yeah, read the card carefully. And what Awaz is saying is that the main question is this first sentence. Okay, so pay really careful attention to the very first sentence. Talk about a safe haven, a place where you can go to avoid danger. Okay, so a safe haven. Again, if you see a new word or new words on the card, then don't panic. Usually the card will have the definition also somewhere on the card. So safe haven is a place to avoid danger. Okay, so it's also known as a place of refuge or a safe, secure location. Okay, in English, we call that a safe haven. Students, notice the pronunciation of this word. It's safe haven, not heaven. Okay? Heaven is spelled differently. Heaven, where the angels live, the place of God. Okay? Some religions call it Shangri-La. There are different names for it. That's spelled Heaven. So notice that here there's a missing E, and the pronunciation here is haven. Again, speak, repeat. Heaven, haven. This is safe haven. Okay? Charlie, a safe house is a little bit different. A safe house is a special off-the-grid secure location used by the police or officials for protective custody. So that's a little bit different, Charlie. A safe house is not necessarily the same as a safe haven. Okay? A safe house is one type of safe haven, Charlie. Okay? Usually for the police or officials. All right? Okay, so one more time. Talk about a safe haven, a place where you can go to avoid danger. What is this place and where is it? When would you use this place? Who would you take with you? Why do you believe this place is better for you than any other during a crisis? Okay, so we read the main question, as Awaz said twice. Now we've read the rest of the questions. And what do I do next? What do I do next? So I have a clear idea of what I need to talk about. My step number 2 is identify the type of question, right? Is it person, place, object, event, or idea? And of course, here you should very quickly realize that here we're basically focusing mostly on a place or a location, as is the title of this lesson. Now, when you're talking about a place, what should you include? So Rajveer, very good. Rajveer says identify the category. You're talking about a place. The tense is modal, conditional, present, right? Preeti, very good. Ferdov says it's kind of an event as well. Yeah, it's not a bad idea, Ferdov. In some ways, the secondary is an event because it's a place used during a crisis, right? So well put, Ferdov. Nicely done. Okay. Abhishek says, well, when you're talking about a place, figure out its location, figure out its appearance. So what does it look like? Its history, its function, and the attendees, right? Who uses this place? So those are all of the important elements to think about when you think of a place. And of course, we realize when we think of these that we're basically answering a lot of those questions on the card. Okay, so very good. Roshni says as well, question and answer. All right, so now step 3. It's a very important one. What is my step 3? We're making some good speed here. Good time. Absolutely, Rajveer. Attendees, and that's a good vocabulary to use as well. So what is my next step? And I think now, members, you're starting to get the idea that 1 minute is actually a lot of time. If you're doing this by yourself, these ideas are flowing nice and quick, especially when you've practiced. Okay, so Awaz says, think about 2 or 3 possible places. Rajveer, even more specifically, says, identify 2 or 3 places. Okay, identify 2 or 3 places that are possible. Sure, good. So give me some ideas, students, and try to think outside the box, right? So think broad, think critically, and think outside the box, okay? So give me some places where you would go in case of a crisis, a safe haven. So where would you go? Roshni says, I would maybe go home to my house. Okay, it's possible. My home, public park. All right. Keep going. Think of some clever ideas. Okay, Pavan says a rural area. So that's a good start, Pavan, but try to be a bit more specific. So a rural area like what? Okay, Hemant says an island. Okay, but just come up with a name. So one small island that I've visited is, let's say, Salt Spring Island. Even the spell check doesn't recognize the name of it. Salt Spring Island is a small island near Vancouver. Okay, or Quadra Island, something like that. So give it a name. That's a good one. Okay, Ferdov says a bomb-proof shelter. That's called a bunker. Okay, so Ferdovs, it's called an underground bunker. That's the name of it. Okay, Ferdov says maybe a religious place like a mosque or a church. Okay. Sure. So a church. Yeah, now you're getting some good ideas. Okay. Hemant says a monastery. That's the same idea. Okay, one that comes to mind for me is a large sailboat. That's what I would try to find if one is available. Okay. All right. So we have a lot of good ideas now. Hemant says a monastery hidden in the mountains. Okay, sure. And again, students, okay, give it a name. So when you think of a church, even if you're just thinking about a church in general, give it a name like St. Peter's Church in the mountains, somewhere in the Himalayas or somewhere in the Rocky Mountains. Okay, so create a specific scenario, even if it's not true. Okay, in the Rocky Mountains. All right, so make it specific. Make it specific. Ferdov says a historical castle, so a castle in the mountains. Sure, absolutely. There's a few of those in Hungary here as well, Ferdovs. All right, so good. We've thought of a lot of great ideas. And notice, students, why you want to think deeply. So my home, probably not, okay? Public park, after all of these ideas, you probably realize that's probably not the best. Rural area is a good start, but what rural area? Okay, so give it a name, like Clayoquot Forest or some kind of a forest or some kind of a mountain or valley. So this is too general, right? So we don't want that. Small island, okay, again, thinking of something more specific. So like Salt Spring Island, just give it a name, or Koh Phan Hang, okay, if you're in Thailand, or Eos, if you're in Greece, okay, so, or an underground bunker, okay, again, give it a name or give it a location, might not be bad. St. Peter's Church in the Rocky Mountains, that seems like an okay choice. Monastery in the mountains, again, give it a name. Large sailboat, again, give that a name and let me know where it is. So maybe the sailboat is called Seven Seas in the nearby harbor. Okay, so that would be a good one as well. All right, students, so let's make a decision here. Salt Spring Island, St. Peter's Church or the Seven Seas sailboat? I'm going to give you a choice of 3 this time. Those are the 3 good ones. So let me have your vote. Where are we going for our safe haven? Small island, St. Peter's Church in the mountains, number 2, or large sailboat, 7 seas, number 3, on the, let's say, the Mediterranean. Okay. So we've got 1 vote for the island. We've got lots of votes for the 7 seas sailboat. Okay. Yeah, even though it's an object in this case, it's also a location, right? Because the object is large enough for it to be a location. Dr. Krishna says an island could be a good option. Yeah, I agree, Dr. Krishna, but I think a lot of people are voting for number 3 because they're realizing that if you're on a sailboat, you can go to a small island, and if that small island has some problems, you can get back on your sailboat and go to another small island, right? So there's definitely advantages to the sailboat. All right, so let's go with number 3, sailboat, the 7 seas. And now let's create some notes. Okay, that's our next step. So, well, Hemant, if there's a tsunami, then hopefully it's got a strong wind to push the sailboat out of the way, as long as you can boat, okay? So again, students, it doesn't have to be perfect, but you can go with a lot of information on a sailboat, okay? So we're going to choose sailboat called the 7 Seas, okay? And now we want some usable notes. Okay, so give me some usable notes and think about location. So where is it? Its appearance. What's the history of the boat? Its function. Who are the attendees? Okay. All right, so give me some information. Okay. Pavan, we don't need to rename it Diamond Princess. Okay, so south part of the Mediterranean. Okay, so it's south. Located at George Harbor in the South Mediterranean. Oops. Sure. Okay. Give me more notes. Okay, it could be California, USA, so it's okay if you're coming up with it. How big is it? So let's call it a 60-footer. That's nice big. 60-foot boat. Okay. Yeah, Hemant, it could be a catamaran, so it's very stable. Sure. Pavan, I think you're thinking about a cruise ship. So let's just take it down a notch. Again, students, when you give your answer in part 2, don't overkill. So don't go over the top. Don't be like, oh, I would commandeer a cruise ship and take it out to sea. It's a little bit too much, right? Cruise ship needs a lot of people to make it work. It relies on fuel. So keep it realistic. Okay, keep it realistic. So bedroom, kitchen, bathroom. Okay, so some of the amenities that it has, fridge, food, water purifier. Okay, so keep it realistic, guys. You have only 3 minutes for this whole thing. Your brain has to work quickly, and you have to be believable. Okay, Rajveer says it can move at 50 km. Okay, so fast, 50 km per hour. Emergency motor. Sure. Okay. Preeti, I don't think your sailboat's going to have hospital services on it, but it might have a medical kit, right? Okay. Fits, let's say, 12 people. So parents, brothers, sisters, kids, right? Okay, don't forget about the content. So location, appearance, history, function, right? So what's the function? Okay, so Hemant says solar powered as well. Okay. Can move with the wind, go to small islands or open ocean. Okay, quiet. All right, good. So we have lots of great content there. Now the next step is step 5. Our notes was step 4 here. So step 5 is first sentence. Okay, so give me your first sentence. We've got lots of good notes. Remember, keep organization in your mind while you're coming up with your ideas. You only have 1 minute to get all this, okay? Keep focused. Okay, Pavan says maybe a doctor or a nurse. Absolutely, that would be a good person to have on the boat, or somebody who is familiar with the ocean. Okay, doctor, navigator, sailor. Those are good ideas, Pavan. All right. First sentence. Remember the question. Okay. So talk about a safe haven, a place where you can go to avoid danger. All right. A sailboat would be a place, a location in this situation. So you could use that. Okay. First sentence. So the examiner says, okay, your 1 minute preparation time is up. Please begin speaking. And immediately you have to be like, well, in case of a crisis, the place I would go to feel the safest is. Okay. And the name of the boat was the Seven Seas. Okay. That we picked. I think somebody said the White Pearl. Okay. So Rajveer says a safe haven which I prefer to go in case of a dangerous situation is the sailboat named Seven Seas in the southern part of the Mediterranean. Very nice sentence, Rajveer. So Rajveer's first sentence right out of the bat, starting him off with a band 9, is a safe haven which I prefer to go in case of a dangerous, why do you think so many rich people have sailboats? Situation is the sailboat. Sailboat is one word, students. Sailboat named Seven Seas. Which is currently marooned at St. George Dock. Located at the southern tip of the Mediterranean. Okay, it's a nice sentence. Great. All right, a couple more sentences that are really nice. I see those coming up. So Abhishek says, the place where I would like to go is on a sailboat, which is located at George's Harbor in the South Mediterranean. Yeah, Abhishek, include the concept of a safe place, the safe place where I would like to go. So just that word safe instead of just place, Abhishek, will really help your answer, okay? Awaz says, a safe asylum that I would go to avoid a menace during a crisis is a sailboat. Very good, Awaz. Safe asylum is a nice synonym. Refuge is another synonym, okay? Boomy says, a safe place where I would go during a catastrophic crisis is the sailboat called Seven Seas in the southern part of the Mediterranean. Very good, okay? Maybe it's your uncle's boat or something like that. Excellent. Charlie says, a safe haven that I could go to avoid any danger is a sailboat named Seven Seas, which I had visited last year to explore the beautiful Mediterranean Sea. Very nice, Charlie. Very nice first sentence, okay? I love how your first sentences are so nice and direct and answering the question. Pavan says, to stay away from any perilous situation, I would go to the Seven Seas sailboat found at George's Harbor in the Mediterranean. Nice, Pavan. Notice the word perilous. So Pavan is using perilous situation. A perilous situation is, again, a synonym for a very dangerous situation. Good for you, Pavan, for sharing the word perilous with us. Ferdov says, one of the most secure places where I could feel safe in case of a crisis or apocalypse is the Seven Seas sailboat in the southwest of the Mediterranean Sea. Very nice, Ferdovs, using the word apocalypse. Okay, great. Hi, Elena. Elena says, for me, in the time of a crisis, the safest place is the sailboat known as the Seven Seas, located at the southern part of the Mediterranean. Good. And again, students, sailboat, one word, just like lifeboat. Okay? All right, come on, go get your food. Sounds good. All right. Roshni says, one of the safest accommodations I prefer to avoid hazardous situations is the large sailboat in the southern part of the Mediterranean called the Seven Seas. Okay, students, you're doing a fantastic job. Preeti, it was nice. Let's continue. So what could be the next sentence here? Okay, so give me the next sentence. Most of you should have the right ideas now, because you know that when you're talking about a place, and in this case, the place is also an object. Places and objects are kind of similar. So we've explained what it is. Now give me the next sentences that should follow to get that high band score. So, a safe haven which I prefer to go in case of a dangerous situation is the sailboat named Seven Seas, which is currently marooned at St. George's Dock, located at the southern tip of the Mediterranean. I'm going to change the word marooned because it's not the best word. That means it's stuck on land. So let's say which is currently docked at St. George's Pier. Okay. All right. So let's see what comes up next. I'm going to start writing. Let's see if you come up with the same idea. This is a modern, here's my notes, 60-foot boat, right? Using our notes. This is a modern 60-foot catamaran, which is well equipped to be self-sufficient. The boat has 2 mainsails, enough beds to sleep 12 people, as well as a small kitchen, washroom, and dining area. Okay, let's see if you come up with similar ideas. Here you should be thinking, okay, I have to describe what this place looks like, right? All right. So Roshni says it not only measures around 60 feet, but also accommodates 15 people. It is cheaper to have and consists of basic utilities like bathroom. Okay, Roshni, the first sentence is good, so it not only measures around 60 feet, but also accommodates 15 people. That's good, Roshni. The second sentence is it includes amenities like a bathroom as well as a kitchen and a dining area. Okay. Awaz says it is called the sailing ship of St. George in the south of the Mediterranean. It's a big sailboat which can accommodate 12 people. Good. So you're realizing, members, that here you want to describe the boat a little bit before you get into the function and why this is your choice. Okay. So it is a 60-foot large and red and black colored boat. It has the capacity to board 15 people. Good, Rajveer. Watch your word order. Ferdov says this place is not only a safe haven, but also has many amenities which I can use during a crisis. Okay, good, Ferdovs, but you don't need to say safe haven spot because safe haven is the noun. So you don't need to use it like an adjective. Okay, Boomy says it is a 60-foot large boat with red and yellow color, which can not only hold about 12 people at once, but also stable in rough waters. Okay, instead of harsh wind doesn't really matter for a sailboat, Boomy, because you just let your sails down. Good. So all of you are realizing that you need to describe what it looks like. Okay, that's what I did as well. So this is a modern 60-foot catamaran, which is well equipped to be self-sufficient. Self-sufficient means that it can work without needing assistance from the outside. So the boat has 2 main sails, enough beds to sleep 12 people, as well as a small kitchen, washroom, and dining area. It can store several hundred kilos of food, and it has a water purification system which can provide a nearly endless supply of clean drinking water. All right, great. So what should I do at this point? So far, I'm giving a clear explanation. I'm making sure that I'm very specific to the question. What should I do at this point? And again, repeat after me and tell me what I need to do at this point. So a safe haven, which I prefer to go in case of a dangerous situation, is the sailboat named Seven Seas, which is currently docked at St. George's Pier, located at the southern tip of the Mediterranean. This is a modern 60-foot catamaran, which is well equipped to be self-sufficient. The boat has 2 main sails, enough beds to sleep 12 people, as well as a small kitchen, washroom, and dining area. It can store several hundred kilos of food, and it has a water purification system which can provide a nearly endless supply of clean drinking water. What should I do now? Okay. What should I do now? So I'm speaking for about 20 seconds at this point, or 25 seconds. So Roshni says, look at the cue card. Yeah, absolutely. So look at the cue card, look at the notes. After about 3, 4, 5 sentences of speaking, students, that's when you should look at the cue card. So look at the cue card and your notes. Okay, so here, if we go back and we look at the cue card, we can see what is this place and where is it? All right. Talk about a safe haven. So talk about a safe haven. Check. 7 C's. What is this place and where is it? It's a 60-foot catamaran. It's parked at St. George's Pier. Good. Check. We have that one. When would you use this place? Okay. So we haven't answered this question yet. And who would you take with you? So now would be a good time to answer when would you use this place and who would you take with you. And these are also your function and attendees, right? So you're answering those two questions. So give me some sentences about this. So when would you use this place and who would you take with you? Okay. Give me some sentences. I'm going to start writing in a minute as well, so you have a little bit of a head start. Okay. All right. All right, let's see what you come up with. Ferdov says, I would use this place if I realize that living in my vicinity is hazardous, and I will leave my home with my family. Good. Awaz says, I would use this place during an apocalypse or crisis, or if I feel danger in my area or in my country. Very good. Okay. Express yourself, so visualize this. And I think a lot of us have seen movies and TV series that focus on these kinds of ideas. So that's what you just need to visualize and incorporate here. Charlie says, so I would use this safe place during an apocalypse or crisis. Rajveer says, I would mainly use this place during a time of a natural disaster, like an earthquake. Good. Elena says, I would like to use this place at a time of any pandemic when our locality is no longer safe for my family and I. To save myself and others, this is the best decision for isolation. Good, Elena. You're on mark with me. So Pavan says, in any harsh situation, especially natural disasters, such as earthquake or religious disputes, it could be catastrophic to my family, and hence I would make a move to this catamaran. Good, Pavan. Pavan, your English is really improving. Just your accuracy in your long, complex grammar has gotten much better. It's fantastic. Keep it up. Okay. Roshni says, absolutely, I will take my parents with me as well as those who are in need in the extreme crisis. Okay, Ferdov says, I will not only take with me my family, but also my friends and relatives, as there are many places during isolation. Okay, I would write something like, I would definitely bring along my family, my parents, brothers, wife, and daughter, as well as some highly useful individuals, as long as I can find them, like a skilled sailor, a doctor, and an engineer. Okay. So here is what I wrote since I looked at the cue card. I would seek refuge on this sailboat in extreme crisis, such as a pandemic where billions of people are getting sick and dying, or some other apocalyptic type event like a meteor smashing into the earth, causing destruction and anarchy. Anarchy is the word where everybody fights for themselves. So everybody's basically out for their own survival, which of course is a very volatile and risky situation. So I would definitely bring along my family, my parents, brothers, wife, and daughter, as well as some highly useful individuals, as long as I can find them, like a skilled sailor, a doctor, and an engineer. Okay, I'm using my notes for this as well. Okay. All right, so I'm again speaking 3-4 sentences, expressing myself, going through the questions. And again, this is where I would maybe look at the cue card and notes. Okay, so what I usually suggest students to do is to look at your notes and look at your cue card at least 2 times during the 2-minute speaking, okay? Make sure to constantly give new information. As soon as you feel like you're going to repeat yourself, okay? So as soon as you feel that you are about to repeat the same information in the 2-minute speaking, immediately look at the cue card and your notes. You will get a better band score when you provide new information in part 2. Okay? So here, again, I would look at my cue card and look at my notes. So when would you use this place? Check. I've talked about it. Okay. Who would you take with you? Check. I've talked about it. Why do you believe this place is better for you than any other during a crisis? So I haven't answered that question yet. So that's what I want to do next. So why do you believe this place is better for you than any other during a crisis? Give me a nice full sentence answer for this one. Okay? So Ferdov says, I hold that this place is a better choice during a crisis than other locations because it is isolated from the world and has goods to maintain people's lives in the long run. Yeah, very good, Ferdovs, okay? So it's a good use of the word hold. So I hold that the 7 C's is the best option for survival during crisis, a dire situation. I want to use that word, just trying to remember which word it was that Pavan used in the beginning. I believe it was Pavan who used that word. Perilous situation, that's what it was. So I hold that the 7 C's is the best option for survival during a perilous time because it is not only isolated from the rest of the world, especially after sailing out into the open ocean, but it can also sustain life aboard the ship for months or even years. The crew aboard the ship can fish and fend for themselves while looking for small islands and other locations of safe refuge. Okay, all right. Let's see what you have come up with for answering this last question. Preeti says, I believe this place is safe because there's a rare chance to contact with infected people in case of a pandemic, and it's far from land. Not Earth, Preeti, but far from land. A spaceship is far from Earth. A sailboat is far from land. Okay? Awaz says, I think this place is better than any other place during a crisis because with this sailboat, I can go to safer locations that are isolated, such as a small island. Good, Awaz. Roshni says, I completely agree that this place is going to be the safest for me because it has all the facilities needed for survival and it's easy to isolate people for long periods of time. Okay, good. Elena, this place is better for me because there would be less people, so diseases won't spread as easily. As well, I will have better alternatives with all the amenities in times of depression. Good, Elena. Rajveer says, this catamaran would definitely be the safest place in a catastrophic situation, as it has all the necessary amenities which are required for sustenance, and there will not be chances of infection from the rest of the world. Good. Preeti says, I think this place is more secure, especially in a situation like the coronavirus, because it isolates the crew from the infected people. Okay, Charlie says, well, for me, this place is better than any other because it is isolated far from land during a crisis, and the crew can float anywhere after the situation starts to get under control. Good. So you came up with very similar ideas as me. Fantastic job, students. Let's go from the top. If you can, try not to read. Try to just repeat me from hearing me, from the sound. If you're having a tough time, then just read with me. The important point here is nice and loud, students. Hear yourself, okay? Here we go. A safe haven, which I prefer to go to in case of a dangerous situation, is the sailboat named the Seven Seas, which is currently docked at St. George's Pier, located at the southern tip of the Mediterranean. This is a modern 60-foot catamaran, which is well equipped to be self-sufficient. The boat has 2 main sails, enough beds to sleep 12 people, as well as a small kitchen, washroom, and dining area. It can store several hundred kilos of food, and it has a water purification system which can provide a nearly endless supply of clean drinking water. I would seek refuge on this sailboat in extreme crisis, such as a pandemic where billions of people are getting sick and dying, or some other apocalyptic type event like a meteor smashing into the earth, causing destruction and anarchy. I would definitely bring along my family, my parents, brothers, wife, and daughter, as well as some highly useful individuals, as long as I can find them, like a skilled sailor, a doctor, and an engineer. I hold that the Seven Seas is the best option for survival during a perilous time because it is not only isolated from the rest of the world, especially after sailing out into the open ocean, but it can also sustain life aboard the ship for months or even years. The crew aboard the ship can fish and fend for themselves while looking for small islands and other locations of safe refuge. Okay, and your 2-minute speaking time is up. please pass back the card with the questions, the note paper, the pencil, and now we will continue with part 3. For part 3, I will ask you some more questions related to the topic of part 2. And at this point, I'm sure you're feeling great about your answer and you're confident going into part 3. And in 30 minutes, that's exactly what we're going to do. So in 30 minutes, I will host the next class, which is part 3 speaking, following from this cue card, this class. So make sure to attend, and then we will go over answering those questions with some right strategies and great ideas. Lots of fantastic vocabulary in today's session as well, so make sure to pick those up. You're very, very welcome, Preeti. Great job, members. Your English and your communication is really improving. It's fantastic to see. I wish you an awesome half-hour break, and hopefully I'll see you soon for part 3 speaking. Much love. Bye for now.